So Kyle, I think the single most frequent request we get at the firm is for assistance on a GOMOR. And one of those reasons is because there's not a real robust system of helping soldiers in the military system with GOMOR rebuttals. What is the importance of a GOMOR rebuttal?
A GOMOR rebuttal is what tells your story. A GOMOR rebuttal is the one document sometimes, because you don't get to appear in person, the one document or the package of documents that go to the convening authority that say, this is my story, this is what happened, this is my view of the facts, and this is what you need to know so that you can make an informed decision about the filing or what happens next.
Right, and that decision the general's going to make is to either throw that GOMOR in the trash, file it locally, or put it in your official file.
And it's important that you advocate from the beginning for it to be thrown out is really what we always want to have happen.
Right, and I guess the tone and structure of the rebuttal is very important.
When your CG or when any CG is looking at a GOMOR, they often are just really time pressed. And the reality is they might not read every word of your 52-page GOMOR rebuttal. And that's where we can really help structure it in a way that we know senior leaders are used to seeing. And that's where we can help you winnow down the words that you're using and really put your strongest foot forward and tell a compassionate story in a way that we know senior leaders are used to seeing.
Right, and there are always exceptions to the rule, but you need to acknowledge the facts, you need to summarize the allegations, and then create your own narrative.
Absolutely.
And that narrative will depend based on the facts, right?
Each case is different. Sometimes we see people say, I did it, I'm at fault, please have mercy on me. And sometimes the facts just aren't what the command thinks they are, and it's important for us to tell the story, but each and every GOMOR rebuttal is different and we can help them.
Right, I've seen it where we disagree on the facts, we agree on the facts, but those facts shouldn't rise to the level of GOMOR. We agree on the facts and it should be a GOMOR, but have mercy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And those are basically the three approaches that you would have.
Absolutely.
So when you put a GOMOR together, how important is supporting evidence of that GOMOR?
Supporting evidence is critical to it because we want the senior leader making the decision to know not only what you have to say about the issue, but we also want to know what your peers say, what your past leaders say. So we look to include statements of support. We look to include, sometimes we want to include NCOERs or OERs. Sometimes we also include medical evidence if there's extenuating or mitigating circumstances that are medically related. I don't know, what else have you seen, Will?
In addition to those, I've often seen, like, if you are a contributor to the thought process in your industry or in your section, like if you've written or if you've contributed a lot of things in your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
In what you do. I've also seen medical diagnoses and mental diagnosis, right? Somebody suffering from PTSD. People who've acknowledged that they have a drinking problem, showing that you've gone through recovery
Mm-hmm.
and showing that you were successfully recovered. That's helpful. And usually when you make a mistake, right, if you're able to document, hey, acknowledgement of the mistake, and here are the positive steps I've taken along the way, I think that goes a long way.
And your point to what have you done since the incident is really key because the GOMOR doesn't usually happen overnight, and there's usually time for you to make a good faith effort to overcome whatever the issue may be.
I'll tell you that when a client comes to me, the first thing that I tell them is like, you are about to become the best soldier you've ever been.
It's so important to show that this was a one-off mistake or that whatever the incident is, A, it won't happen again, and B, you know how to persevere, because if anything in the Army, we're all about grit and determination. You can show that you can continue to soldier on.
And one of the things I've noticed is oftentimes there's not a statement from our client. They've either invoked or they've been advised by TDS not to give a statement. So that personal narrative is missing. I think it's critical in every GOMOR rebuttal that I do that there is a personal narrative that's involved. That the client tells their side of the story. And one of the things that I personally do is I have my clients at the end of the GOMOR rebuttal acknowledge it and affirm all the facts in that GOMOR rebuttal. So not only do they have a narrative, but they're affirming what I'm saying as being what they say too.
It just goes to show that you're being as forthright and as honest and as truthful as you can. And the convening authority should listen to what you say and should do what you ask.
Absolutely. And of course, you include the awards, you include the recognitions, you include the badges. If you're a jump master, right,
Yep.
you need to say
Always,
you're a jump
airborne.
master.
That's right.
And you got to put this together in a professional package. You don't just throw it together with 15 documents.
Absolutely not.
It's packaged together. And I would say one other thing about your GOMOR rebuttal. You have to have a good writing style, right? Something that is engaging. You might have a 10-page document. If that document is hard to read, the CG is not going to plow through it.
Which is exactly where the attorney matters the most, right? We make our living with our words and with our writing. And so we can help take what you want to say and turn it into something that's easy to read, something that's understandable, something that flows, has complete sentences, and again, is something that the CG is used to reading in a style that he or she understands.
Right.
And that's really where we can make our money.
I mean, the ideal situation is you've got a GOMOR rebuttal, the CG's reading it, and they're like, what comes next? What comes next?
Right. They want to know how the story turns out too.
Correct.
Exactly.
Right. So if you are facing a GOMOR and you need assistance, we're the law office of Will M. Helixon. We are your warrior advocates. You defend the nation. We defend you.